Hi guys. Stevie with you. Okay, so the Bette Midler Gypsy came out when I was 7, a decade before I did. I've always connected the two because I think that if you watch Bette Midler's Gypsy every day for a year and don't turn gay, you're not trying hard enough. The funny thing is I never saw all of it until years later because my parents were really diligent. They'd been turning off the tape right after Together Wherever We Go. So it wasn't until like I was a teenager that I knew it was a musical about a stripper. I had no idea. It was a really shocking revelation. But the Sondheim musical my parents did let me watch start to finish was Into the Woods, which my dad had taped when it was on. Yeah. There's a lot of references to Into the Woods, so it's good that you guys are all nerds. It was 91, and I was 4. I was a few years shy of Bette Midler's Gypsy, and I was really young, but I still knew like the horrible things that happened in Into the Woods. And I'm not sure why the trauma of that show was inflicted on me while I was spared the knowledge that Louise becomes a stripper, but like most parents, mine had a hard time explaining sex and violence, and I guess they were just hoping I'd miss the giant wolf dick. Which I'm sure that I did at first. I missed a lot of things in those early viewings, which were even more frequent than those of Gypsy. But unlike the Bette Midler Gypsy, Into the Woods has been a constant in my life. I can't remember a time when I wasn't watching that recording. That VHS tape was very worn out. I eventually upgraded it to a DVD, and it's been a lifelong companion and friend. Sometimes I fear I'm touched. And when I wasn't sitting down with friends to watch it, to kind of gauge their reactions and make sure we could keep hanging out, I was watching it myself and kind of taking more of it in each time. My understanding was deepening as I was getting older. I know things now. I don't want to put all my emphasis on Into the Woods because it wasn't the only Sondheim show that really moved me during my adolescence. I remember seeing Company a week after getting my first hickey, and I was like bawling during being alive because somebody held me too close and then stopped returning my calls. I experienced something close to a goth phase when I got really into Sweeney Todd. It was really dark for a while. And I saw an all-Asian production of Pacific Overtures and an all-Asian production of Merrily We Roll Along. I don't know if you guys know, but the East West Players are LA's premier Asian American theater organization, and they're great. Check them out if you can. That's just a plug, I don't work. But nothing could ever replace Into the Woods for me. It was a really strong connection, and no matter how many thousand times I listened to that cast recording, I found new relevance in my life. It comforted me, the lyrics comforted me in times of turmoil. When I came home from college to a city that didn't feel the same, and you think of all the things you've seen, you wish that you could live in between. When I made my first online dating profile. But then what if he knew who you were when you know that you're not what he thinks that he wants? And sorry to bring it down, but when a friend died suddenly, sometimes people leave you halfway through the wood. Do not let it grieve you, no one leaves for good. And of course, when David asked me to do this tonight, Opportunity is not a lengthy visitor, which is a James Lapine line, I'm pretty sure, but like I'm gonna just go with it here. I know I'm not the only person in this room who looks to Sondheim for guidance or context or inspiration. His songs are so intricate they force you to engage. Every moment makes a contribution, every little detail plays a part. Those are lyrics, I didn't write that. You cannot think about his words long after you stop listening, and you cannot find meaning in every line, whether it's funny or tragic or somewhere in between. Sondheim helps us think and feel, and if you're anything like me, you need all the help you can get. So Sondheim is something when you can't process something, when something you can't understand, you can kind of understand it through Sondheim. I'm going to quote someone else now. The other day at work, I published a list of quotes from people who had worked with Sondheim or had a special relationship with him, and I'm going to alienate all of you by referencing Glee right now, and I'm really sorry about that. But Chris Colfer wrote a really nice quote, and I'm going to read it to you. I'm sorry to the haters. He wrote, "Performing Sondheim is more than just singing a song, it's exposing a soul. Sometimes a character, sometimes your own. Listening to Sondheim is like handing over the keys to your psyche. Every lyric and every note is so beautifully assembled, it instantly levels your mood to whatever emotion is being portrayed. It takes a true gift to make audiences feel music as they hear it, and a performer couldn't ask for a better tool." It's a really nice quote, right? Like, it almost makes up for that terrible auto-tune version of No One Is Alone they did. It was so bad. It was so bad. That's not the point. Anyway, the quote really resonated with me, even though I'm not a performer, I'm not a singer, but I don't think you have to be. You just have to be, you have to appreciate that lyrical journey, you basically don't have to be a performer, you have to be a human being with a really good taste. And then you can get it. At this point in my life, I still turn to Into the Woods the most. Maybe it's nostalgia, maybe it's the fact that I've watched it and listened to it so many times that it's like deeply rooted in my soul. But I can't remember a time when I made a decision that I didn't consult Moments in the Woods. That's like my decision song. It's kind of an anthem for someone like me who's like anxious and indecisive and Jewish. And I feel like it's helped me in that the older I get, the more I realize that having it all is not a thing. And that comes from someone who's tried to be bi-coastal, so I really do get it. But I'm also okay with life is sometimes disappointing, but often really fulfilling, work in progress. Things are complicated, and no matter what my parents would have me believe, Gypsy does not end with Together Wherever We Go. There's a whole other part of it. So I'm going to close just by saying, do your best and be kind to one another. Maintain your faith in a higher power, like Stephen Sondheim or one of the lesser deities. And as my therapist has been telling me for years, like a decade now, live in the moment. Now I understand, and it's time to leave the woods.